In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Very good. So, I just said today is Godparent, Godchild Sunday. Now, does anybody know why we have it today, like that first Sunday in February? Andriana? Okay, that's part of it, but we could do that any time of year. Why do we do it now, right at the beginning of February? Do you know? Okay, celebrate the month. Maybe before Valentine's Day? Not Groundhog Day. No, we got a lot of work to do. So we just celebrated what? What was the big feast we just celebrated? I know the Agape kids should know this one. We just celebrated Jesus being brought into the temple at 40 days of age, right? 40 days old. And who received him? He was brought by Mary and Joseph, his parents, but who received him? Do you know? So a person who worships in the temple, good, that's good. Mary? That's right, Simeon. And there was another person there. Do you know who the other person was? God was there, yes, and one other person. That's right, Anna. So righteous, the elder righteous Simeon and the prophetess Anna were there in the temple, and they received God. And so they're you could kind of say they're like godparents to Jesus. Okay, that's why we do that at this time of year. Now, I want to ask you a question, and if maybe your friends at school might ask you this question. If somebody said, what are godparents for, or what do godparents do? Raise your hand. What would you answer? How would you answer? Okay, they baptize the kids. That's almost correct. The priest actually baptizes them, but they're there, of course, for the baptism. What else? Their family and they love you. Good. Matthew? That's right. When you're young and maybe you don't know how or maybe you can't do it, they show you what to do, and sometimes they do it for you. Good. So maybe they teach you about John the Baptizer. I can't hear you, honey. Yeah. Okay. So, do you have a... Yeah, so sometimes if you might be scared of something, they can help you with that as well. So, some of those things that they do for you when you're young, like at your baptism, they did everything for you, especially if you're baptized as a baby, because you couldn't do all that stuff for yourself. And like you said, their job is to teach you all those things that they did during the baptism, how to do them for the rest of your life, right? In the baptism service, we say the creed, right? How many of you can say the creed on your own yet? Okay, maybe some of you are working on it. Do you have a question? Very good. They're the ones that say your baptismal name, your new name, the name that identifies you as a Christian, the name that's written in the book of life. Very good. Wait a minute. Raise your hand. Go ahead. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna tell you a couple things that I want you to remember so that you can do it with your godparents. Okay. So some special things they want you to do, to remember throughout the year, and those of you who have been at a baptism that I've done, maybe it sounds familiar. First thing is they bring you to church, right? Right? They bring you to church so that you can worship God and you can receive the holy sacraments. The second thing is they teach you about what God's commandments are, what God tells us how to live our life. That's one of their main jobs, is to teach you that. And then thirdly, it's for them to be an example to you. So when you see them and you say, wow, that person is a good example of what it means to be a follower of Christ. And then just a couple other things. How many of you know what day your birthday is? Raise your hand. How many of you know what day you were baptized on? Yeah, I thought so. So we got to work on that, right? We got to remember the day we were baptized, because that's the day we were born as a Christian. And we should celebrate that just as much as our regular birthday. There's another day that we celebrate. What is it? It's another day we celebrate. Very good. Our name day, right? When we talked about that, you getting that name when you were baptized, that name is usually after a saint or a feast day. And so every day that year when we celebrate that saint, that's your name day. And you should celebrate that with your godparent. Okay? All right. So you've got just a minute for questions. Anybody have a question? You've had your hand up. Very good. Question?
When was God's birthday?
Good question. Well, Jesus' birthday, we know that. That's December 25th. Do you have a question? That's okay.
When's Jesus' name's day?
Good question. When's Jesus' name's day? Well, they say the 8th day after we're born, in our tradition, that's when we can give the name. We can name it. And so 8 days after Jesus was born, on January 1st, that's when he received his name. So you could say that's kind of like his name day. Another one you could say is like Jesus Christ. So some people are named Christos or Christina after Christ, and typically they celebrate their name day on December 25th. So good question. All right, we got to wrap up right now. So I'm going to ask you to go quietly back to your seats with your godparents and your parents, and then you'll be coming up in just a minute for communion. And we just ask that godparents and parents let the kids peel off to church school, and please remain with us for the memorial and the announcements afterwards. Yeah, they can still come first, yeah.